Good morning everybody, this is Sonia, otherwise known as Profiling Manipulation on YouTube. So I've just got a few words and thoughts I just want to, contemplate, talk about. I wonder what other people think. I'm kind of really intrigued to know what people think about this. Alright, so I'm just going to read a couple of my posts, and then I'm just going to touch on Doug and Nick from Adventures with Purpose, okay? So right from the top. When Jared went for Jagger, Jagger was nothing more than a stepping stone into more attention, waves of infamy and adoration from the public. Jagger was a tool to be used by Jared and sacrificed at the altar of fucked up and lost integrity. All in his quest for more money. Doug followed. Doug took over the story and led the internet toward Jagger's door. Jagger was followed 3 times. 3 times in real life over this shit, at what was the worst moment another human being can go through at any age. Never mind the age he is, 18. The loss of a friend, the agony of them being missing, the knowledge it was an accident, the thoughts you could have saved them or stopped this had you just been there, the grief afterward, the horror of all that nestled upon the shoulders of an 18-year-old boy. Doug has a child the age of Kylie. And that to me just makes this all the more disgusting and abusive. Where was Doug's integrity? Where was Nick's? 3 grown men who cared more about themselves and views than the safety and mental health of an 18-year-old kid. Every single one of them, until proven otherwise, is narcissistic and reckless when in regards to the path of their own success. And don't forget, ruthless as fuck. There's clearly nothing they won't do. Jared uses people like objects, just like sociopaths do. Life is a movie set. Well, hello. They, all 3 of them, orchestrated a movie-like set production by promoting false theories and facts surrounding the Kylie Rodney case and laying them out before an audience of millions. They kicked back and watched as the money poured in, with hundreds of thousands of fools hanging on to their every word. This did happen. So to kiss their asses before you know any facts or have anything cleared up is just exactly what you did with Jared. Smoothed over rumours and didn't investigate or hold them to account. Overlooked, looked the other way, pretended, gave the benefit of doubt. Will you run the risk of being tricked like that again? Or will you in future do your due diligence? Let this be the last example you need of. If the manipulation is good, you will not see it. Hashtag love with your eyes open. And this one. And just like that, after that indictment, it's business as usual. I mean, I saw Josh Cantu, he's opened up his memberships and stuff. He's, pumping stuff out and grabbing onto all this new attention and the massive subscribers that have just migrated over to his channel. Nick's engaging and, asking what people want to see from him. And I totally understand that certain people can't say certain things, but it still does feel like another situation that's just being exploited for self-gain. Does it not feel off to anybody else? If grown men cannot be self-accountable for the bullshit and complete shitstorm they sent in the direction of Kylie's family, including Jagger and Sammy, it's a very bad sign. At the most heinous time of that mother's life, in the midst of grieving for her only daughter, her only child, who at 16 years old passed in such a tragic and terrible way, they were responsible for directing the internet into disputing her cause of death in the most ferocious and despicable way. They directed harassment towards her family and friends, both online and in real life. They directly did so every time they mentioned the case and possibility of corruption or murder and a cover-up. They did so when they said, it looks suspicious. They encouraged Ryan Upchurch, with a sub-count of almost 4 million, to pick at Kylie and tear her life and family and friends apart in the most cruel and disgusting way. They deserve, if they won't separate themselves from mirroring the same toxic types of behaviour Jared acts out, i.e. obnoxious, cruel, manipulative, superior, above being called out, a refusal to be self-accountable and too good to own their wrongs, absolutely nothing. They don't deserve support if they intend to go forward allegedly, helping other families, because they've already proven integrity in a case does not matter. And I'm specifically talking about the AWP members who were a part of the recovery of the Kylie Rodney case, no others. And all of that still stands. How do we just go back to just pretending that all that abusive and terrible behaviour did not happen? I don't understand it. And if you go and look at Doug's behaviour, it was obvious he was lying. And I'm going to pull a clip up. Hold up.
So it's not a mistaking turn. This is what you're seeing, and it's tragic. You know, he just. You sharing what your process typically is. It seemed to me too that there was a little bit of animosity from the way that the law enforcement spoke about you guys during their press conference. I think you guys maybe settled that, whatever that may have been the next day, because I know you were working with the team, giving them some pointers on how to use that sonar. Who do you think is responsible for the after dive to make sure that none of that evidence is sticking around? The commander that's in charge there of the scene, you know, which we know we have CHP, FBI, Nevada County, Placer County, whoever that entity was that was in charge of calling those shots. And I wasn't in that perimeter, you know, as a spectator at that point, which we were turned into spectators. You know, it looked like they were doing the best that they could. I know in hindsight that is not, you know, wasn't a good job, but you know, for the type of experience they had, you know, they did what they could. Mm. Well, I'm proud of the work that you guys did to recover Kylie. I think one of the most horrific scenes for me was just seeing Nick's face when he came out of the water, and I paused and stopped and looked at that. And
Oh yes, the moment Nick came to the surface. We need to call the authorities. It looks suspicious. She's in the back. What was the percentage of people being found in the back hatch, I wonder? I'm trying to remember. But I know it was somewhere around 90% of cases. Because there's another couple with a business the same as AWP, and they've been doing it for 20 plus years, I believe, right? They're solved, I think it is around the 100 mark of cases and found cars with remains in them. And they said they disputed his account of this being a suspicious event, this in this instance of this victim, Kylie Rodney, being found in the hatch. Right, we've had it explained to us 100 times. Even I know now what happens when a car hits the water. Nose down, right? If the water starts, if you've wound the windows down, you need to push through the water to get out. Do not go to the back of the car. You push through the water, through the windows, and you force your way the hell out. You start getting out immediately, okay? She went to the back because, say for example, she was slightly drunk, even slightly intoxicated. It was pitch black. She wouldn't have first realised she'd hit the water. She'd have probably tried to reverse in panic mode, right? Then realise, shit. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Right? Jump out the driver's seat, jump into the back. The nose is going down. What do? I can't call anybody for help. There's no one here. Shit, right? There's water coming in around her feet, rising up to get into her knees. It's coming up to the back seats, right? There's nowhere to go. She can't go forward because that's where the water's coming in. So she keeps going back to escape the water, the highest point of the car. I'm telling you now, in a fit of panic and terror like that, you would force yourself in that hatch. You would force yourself. It has been proven time and time again. When people are in a fight, flight, freeze or fawn state, they are capable of doing and having extra strength and extra abilities to do things, okay? To either survive or that, unfortunately, in the panic and terror, end up causing their own demise. Because they can't think straight. You can't think straight once your brain hits fear. Once fear is triggered, fight, flight, freeze or fawn kicks in. You're in an involuntary state. Nobody knows how they'd react if fear kicks in. That's if fear kicks in. If you're a logical person and you know your car's going in the water and you're somebody like Doug here, you'd be getting out as you saw the car approaching the water. There's no sign to know that she even knew she was approaching the water. No sign at all. Right? That girl was in the back, okay? That's where most victims are found. And they led the entire internet, hundreds of thousands and millions of people, to believe their account that being in the back was suspicious, which circumvented every single person then being suspicious and paranoid and thinking there's a cover-up. This is murder, somebody did it. So they started investigating her friend, Sammy, in particular. They had a hatred for Sammy from the start, right? And what's so funny here is, I found a clip of Doug saying, if you have any tips about the Kylie Rodney case or you know anything, please report them directly to Placer County, or myself, you can email me, Doug, at Adventures with Purpose. He actually says that. I'm going to find it. All right. So you all had a problem with Sammy saying, if you've got any tips, please come to me. Jagger, if you've got any tips, please come to me. Please tell me. Right. Which you would want your friends to. All right. Just come and tell me. Just come and tell me. We need to know where she is and what happened. Doesn't matter how bad it is. Just come and tell me. Right. They were penalised and harassed. What's the word? Mercilessly. There was no mercy. Whatever it is, there was no mercy for those kids. You had Bullhorn Betty over there doing a fucking deep dive into her life. You had Zav Girl here, right, having Sammy up on her screen in her bikini, talking about her and trying to look at some tattoo in her cleavage, an 18-year-old girl. Oh, but it's all right. She's of age. She's of age. She isn't of age at all. She isn't of age. All right. That girl has not got the thinking processes, the life experience of being an adult. She may be 18, right? But she does not have the thinking, the reasoning skills, the decision-making skills, the coping skills of an experienced 30-year-old adult. And to put her on that screen in her bikini was an absolute... I don't care if she's 18. If she wants to put that on her social media, she's 18. You know, typically, there'll be other 18-year-olds around her. No, but you bring a picture of her to our community, this huge community full of maniacs, sociopaths and narcissists that have a lust for death and tragedy and how people died and love to know the finer details of what happened to them. They enjoy it, they get off on it, okay? They're attracted to these types of subjects and communities. Death, anything about death. Especially murder and pain, sadistic killers, sexual sadists and all that kind of shit. They love it. So you're going to find a lot of toxic people around the true crime communities. Know that now, all right? It's a haven for them. They love it. And here she is putting Sammy on a screen in front of a what? 2K audience of adults, right? Who clearly have proven at this point that they're enjoyment of true crime has taught them nothing over the years, absolutely nothing, because they were wrong on absolutely everything, all right? Wrong on absolutely everything. And instead of being accountable and accepting when they're wrong, do you know what they do? They then say the police are lying, the police are crap, they don't know what they're doing over there, they're short-staffed, they don't care, it's a cover-up, it's a conspiracy, right? And all those people that are into this cult-like thinking, group think of being a part of a community on social media, right? Go along for the ride with it. They just go along with it. They run with it. They absolutely run with it. They directed hundreds of thousands of people, maybe not hundreds of thousands, but certainly thousands of people to those kids' social media accounts, and they were harassed. They had to mute their comment sections, privatise stuff, take stuff down. And even when the mother of Kylie asked for peace and said, there's honour in silence, which there is, all right, there's honour in silence, then they started dragging the mother. There were people accusing the mother of having an affair with Jagger, and they killed Kylie, right? There were all kinds of crazy conspiracies coming out, circling this whole case. It was sickening, absolutely sickening. And we're going to go and look at Mr. Bishop right now, because at some point in here it is extremely obvious to me this guy is lying. And if you are part of the true crime community and you don't even pick up on that. And Zav Girl, I believe, has some degree in psychology. I know she's interested in behavioural science. I never hear her. I have never heard her, not once, educate me on anything in that arena. Nothing. All I hear her say is, oh, well, I don't know. Oh, well, what do you think? Oh, well, I don't know. Oh, well, what do you think? Oh, well, I don't know. Oh, I didn't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't even understand. Like, when people are saying they're coming to this channel to learn anything, what are you coming to learn? All she does is cover cases. That's it. She isn't teaching anything. She's just covering a crime and then adding and allowing other people to create absolute confusion and chaos about the facts and details surrounding the case, which then means that all this audience, right, they run with false information and give it to other people and it gets passed on. And then you have the police having to come out making statements, asking for social media to stop, or social media to, I don't even know how the police word it, right? But the police have commented about the fucking fuckery that you lot create on social media surrounding cases, and real life cases too, all right? It's sickening. Let me find this guy and his lie.
And the agencies that we're working with, these are answers. As tragic as it may be, these are answers that we're providing, and that's what we focus on no matter what we're doing.
Was there indication, like I know if there's a continuum between foul play and accident, it seemed to me the way that the documentary you guys created was leaning towards foul play. Is that where you still stand?
Yep. You know, when things don't add up, they don't add up. Too many coincidences become evidence. You know, some people say, oh, circumstantial stuff. You know, coincidences, when they add up, circumstantial things add up, you know, they become overwhelming. So at this point, I'm beyond 50-50. Absolutely, could this be an accident? You know, they could come out and say that, but no one's going to believe it. I mean, it's tragic. You know, there's upwards of 400 children at that party, and she's found not too far away, and nobody knows anything. This isn't a wrong turn road either. This isn't even a road. It's a path with huge ruts in it. So it's not a mistaking turn. This is where the vehicle was found. Is you know, unless you're there and you're able to drive on that path and understand the road and how it hits the vehicle. When I drove our RV down the road to get there, it was wobbling and almost turning over. There were several times I almost rolled it over and flipped.
Wow.
So I mean, this isn't I just made a wrong left turn. Didn't realize I made a wrong left turn. It's a beautiful paved road in and out of the campground, and you're on a dirt road. So
rough dirt road, it sounds like.
Yeah, this is one of the worst accident.
So right here, he's leading you to believe there's no way, okay, that she would have just gone off that beautifully paved road, as he puts it, onto that off-road type terrain. It was bumpy. It was their truck nearly, you know, it was tipping, tilting, whatever. He's laying the groundwork here for this bullshit theory that it wasn't an accident.
Ever, or it's definitely foul play.
So you're like 90-10.
You know, this has just turned into a rabbit hole for everybody. It really has. And I think.
And look at him when he's asked. So you're 90-10, okay? So he leads you to the path, down the path, no pun intended, that this was not an accident, right? Because there's no way you can come off this path. You would know. It's either the worst accident ever or it's foul play, he said. Okay? And then when asked by Tyler, because Tyler was asking decent questions, so you're 90-10 then, right? He wants to pin him down and get a specific answer instead of all this, like, hinting, leading towards things, not quite saying them, meaning them, but not saying them, taking it back, changing it, whatever. Do you think it was an accident? Well, it could have been, but there's all this evidence, and even though it's circumstantial, blah, 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 right? But then when he tries to pin this guy down, watch his body language change. All right.
Out of the goodness of everybody's hearts, they just want answers. They're just trying to figure things out. And I'm definitely a majority thinking that it's, you know, there's a lot of suspicion in areas there shouldn't be.
Did law enforcement seem to think that after you told them, you know?
For everybody, it really has.
Sure.
Well, paved road in and out of the campground, and you're on a dirt road. So
rough dirt road, it sounds like.
Yeah, this is one of the worst accidents ever, or it's definitely foul play.
So you're like 90-10.
You know,
This bit.
You know, this has just turned into a rabbit hole for everybody. It really has. And I think out of the good.
It's turned into a rabbit hole for everybody. All right. He knew then. He knew then. There's a high possibility this was an accident. He knew then. You see him look down and he will not be specific, all right? But he's quite happy to talk you into the idea that this was not an accident. It's all fuckery, absolute fuckery. And it's real people, this. This is not the television where you're just watching a show. These are real people.
Of everybody's hearts, they just want answers. They're just trying to figure things out. And I'm definitely
and you're
majority thinking
purposely muddying the waters. Pun intended.
You know, there's a lot of suspicion in areas there shouldn't be.
Did law enforcement seem to think that after you told them, you know, the details of the car and what you were thinking? Did they have any suspicion, or what did they say?
They're playing it really tight to the vest. I think their lack of response publicly explains it all. I think their response the other day saying that they're not going to respond again until November says it all. Why wait so long? Obviously, if they come forward and announce they suspect foul play, there comes a whole other level of pressure publicly on, okay, who is it? Who's your suspect? So they're not going to do that. So they're giving themselves some time to do it the right way, thoroughly. And I think the fact that they're willing to drag this out so long, says a lot. Who's your suspect? So they're not going to do that. So they're giving themselves some time to do it the right way, thoroughly. And I think the fact that they're willing to drag this out so long, says a lot.
So on the video, I noticed her dad seemed a little suspicious when he told him that she wasn't in the driver's seat. She was in the back. Did you get a chance to talk to him? And did they thank you? Did her parents thank you?
Do you know how in the fuck, right? That man on that, the edge of the water, her father, Kylie's father, how the fuck could you, right? You tell him she was found in the back, and you know in 90% of the instances that kids or people, victims of this kind of accident, are often found in the hatch or the back, right? When you know that that's where you tend to find victims, how could you let that man think? How the fuck could you let that man think that somebody had done something to her for your own gain? When were any of these men going to speak out if this indictment hadn't have occurred? That's the question I want to know. If all these men, right, because in a way now they can't win. That's why I tagged them in a post the other day, and I think they should just be honest and say they notice things and they brush them off and they realise now that they shouldn't. That would have been better, right, than if they never bring this up again. It would, if they take responsibility of what they did, right, and even if they say Jared had said do this and say that, and he like told us how we had to play this story out, and we're working under him and it was intimidating, and I don't know, like, I know what it's like when somebody is a sociopath or a narcissist and you don't feel like you can say no to them, and you do things to keep them happy that don't keep you happy. All right, I understand it. But to just, how could you do that to this man? How could you let him think that this was foul play when every single person, or nearly every single person, is found in the hatch?
Grandpa, we're so like humbly thankful for what we did. There's so much that we could not put in our episode, that the exchange between the father and grandfather and I, because of the things that were talked about in relevance to what may or may not have happened. And yeah, he was extremely frustrated when he got there, and we did show a little bit of that. There was no hiding that, but he was very grateful. Him and grandfather were extremely grateful that we were able to find Kylie. As much as that is ending hope in that scenario, really strong-headed, and they're not going to give up until they have answers either. It's just a tough time for them right now, and it's just a big grieving process for them at the moment. Their fight is not over. They're not, I don't think, going to accept that this is just an accident.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously heartbreaking, and it's interesting because they're keeping some of it close to chest, and then obviously with this evidence that was discovered yesterday, they're dealing with wildfires like crazy and evacuating people, and so I can understand why they were late to the scene to want to try to figure out what's going on there. I can understand why they're late to the scene to make a statement about it. Nevada County made a statement, I don't know if you saw that, Zach, a few minutes ago, and just said, hey, just reminding everybody we are the leads on this case, and that was pretty much it. They didn't address it one way or another. Did they ask you to keep any of it quiet? Did you have to do a non-disclosure agreement? What does that look like?
No agreements, but we're not trying to, act unprofessional or disrespectful,
Do you see how he's acting now? Because he knows he's already signed an NDA with Jared, and he's under instructions because other people have said the same. Kyla came out and said, right, they're interested in money shots. Sam said jokingly, he used to say to Jared, is this filming day today, or are we actually searching? Okay, is this like footage day where we're just getting footage of us looking like we're doing shit, or are we actually going searching for this missing person? Sam said that, okay, and Kyla has confirmed that when he wouldn't get the money shot, which was the man breaking down in tears, he got in trouble for that, all right, and he ended up walking away and leaving that day. So you looking sideways and here, there and everywhere, you're telling on yourself, Doug.
Compromise their investigation. So.
Or another. Did they ask you to keep any of it quiet? Did you have to do a non-disclosure agreement? What does that look like?
No agreements, but we're not trying to, act unprofessional or disrespectful or compromise their investigation. So we're choosing to be, to play it tight to the vest as well. It's not going to benefit us by getting ugly. We don't have to. And at the end of the day, what happens in the dark will come out to light.
It's not going to benefit us by getting ugly. What the hell does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? It's not going to benefit us, things getting ugly. Well, what could get ugly? You made the entire thing the ugliest scene ever in the history of the fucking tragedy pimps, and they have done some shit. They have been outside Brian Laundrie's house harassing his parents, right? Testing the boundaries, walking up to the door, placing flyers everywhere, screaming and shouting, creating a whole fucking whirlwind of hell, right? Then where else did they go? They harassed, well, Molly Golightly harassed the Ruseks before that, okay, terribly, was trying to set up scenes surrounding that so that she would look like this grief-stricken bloody creator throwing herself upon the grave of Shanann, right? She wanted to set that scene up. I recall that vividly. We had the Cash Gernan fiasco, having people drive past where he passed away and harassing the son of the mother that was looking after him, okay? Calling him, giving him nicknames, Special K. He was 18, he was an 18-year-old kid. They even accused him of possibly being the murderer, even though the guy was on a bloody camera and you could see him pick the baby up and take him. They were giving her shit, putting her in videos, putting her in titles, Monica, harassing the hell out of her, humiliating her, taunting her, mimicking her, mocking her, abusing her verbally across the internet, right? And then where do we go after that? Oh, who could forget the Wells? And I don't care what type of people you think they are. We're talking about, right, the people that we are and how we act. So when you're having a go at people and calling them abusive and saying that they're terrible people are abusive. But if you're being abusive to terrible people and you're acting out the same types of behaviours that they would in their own houses, screaming obscenities at each other, calling each other vicious, horrible names, bitch, cunt, whatever, all the horrible names you can call people, that's what you're doing, harassing them. Don and Candice both lost the job. The tragedy pimps were outside the property, right, causing mayhem and total confusion, harassing the hell out of him, saying evil stuff to the mother of Summer, okay, and we don't even know that she did anything. There's no proof yet, no facts of any kind. And on it goes. Xavier Harrelson, was it his mother or his guardian being harassed by Perplexed across the internet, threatened, okay, in a title, I'm gonna fucking knock you out if you carry on, right? Her son's missing at this point, or the child of this neighbour, you know, Xavier would play with her kid, and so she knew him really well, right? Threatening people across the internet that are in the worst crisis of their lives. And this guy is a tragedy pimp too. That's what he is. He has done the same. He has pimped out a tragedy for self-gain. A tragedy for self-gain. It's exploitative. It's disgusting. It's abusive. It's terrible. It's not okay. This happened. And these men, if they want to separate themselves from Jared, need to acknowledge and own up to the things they said and did regarding Kylie Rodney. Of course, that's if they're genuine and authentic and healthy people. All right? That's if they're people that can self-reflect and have insight and introspect and think, you know what? We fucked up. We should never have done that. Sammy, Jagger, Callie, the Rodneys in general, both sides, mum and dad's side, they deserve a full apology for the shitstorm and whirlwind you created surrounding this case. You were disgusting.
It's the time. But, you know, it's just, we have to maintain a level of professionalism too. So, you know,
you have to maintain a level of professionalism, do you? Really? So staring people up on the internet is you maintaining a level of professionalism, is it? Is it? Is it?
Agreements or anything, just an understanding.
Well, that's good. Sam, thank you for letting me on, ask a couple questions. I'll be back if you're still doing questions and have a panel in like 20 minutes or so, if that's okay.
Cool, yeah, definitely.
It was great to see you. Sorry for
likewise, Tyler.
No, thank you. Thanks, Tyler. Okay, Autumn, so do you still have a couple questions you wanted to ask him?
One question I had was, did you have any interaction with her mom?
Not directly, and no, we did not. Coming into the case, mom at the time was heavily protected. You know, she didn't have access to social or whatnot. The sheriff's department that we were speaking to assured us that they were in communication with mom and so forth. So my main point of contacts were extended family and friends.
Did you notice that strap sticking out of the trunk?
I did not until.
I know. I'm just.
I think that's one of the awesome things about, you know, obviously there's been some drama created online because of this case, but that's normal. I think at the end of the day, everybody just wants to try to help. You know, obviously, some are out for themselves rather than others. But you know, the fact that
you hear that bit, he's talking about himself and Jared. Okay. Obviously, there's drama surrounding cases. There's drama when tragedy pimps get involved and start to insert themselves into the case by contacting neighbours, any possible friend, ex-friend, ex-babysitter, ex-colleague, ex-partner. They will get anyone on panel to talk about the person in question that's surrounding the crime, just so they can pimp this tragedy out for their own gain. They blow up the drama on purpose. Okay, if people are seriously into being armchair detectives, that doesn't mean that you go off gossip and rumour and entertain neighbours that have got hate towards the person and they're telling wild, wacky, great, huge, lying stories. That's not covering a case. That's not true crime. That's not being an armchair detective. What the fuck are you detecting except shit? And just more and more shit. That's all you detect. That's it.
the community is coming together and they're finding these clues out. Like, wow, like when I seen that hanging out the trunk, that was alarming. Like, why is that there? What does that mean? What does that mean? You know?
What do you think it is?
It looks like the end of a seatbelt to me.
Yeah.
And how on earth? I've never seen anything like that.
Oh, yeah, like she had that black.
Yeah, it didn't look like a belt. I mean, it very well could be. I don't know. Investigation. I mean, obviously at this point, everybody knows she was in the back cargo area. I mean, that's out there. So that's suspicious.
And as far as, okay, so I heard you on another
Hang
interview
on.
saying
Hang
a
on,
position
Dawn.
that looks suspicious. I'm not sure if you can say that.
Those particulars I cannot answer. Again, it's an ongoing CHP, FBI, Nevada County investigation. I mean, obviously at this point, everybody knows she was in the back cargo area. I mean, that's out there. So that's suspicious.
That's suspicious.
And as far as, okay, so I heard you on another interview saying about the wheels being turned. I think it was you. Either you or Jared were saying that's normal, right? Like they turn underwater.
Yeah, paying attention to where the wheels were facing doesn't mean anything because they can change when it hits the water, and they could have changed when they pulled it out and rolled it over.
I'll just make it over here, and personally, I'd like to thank you for your work.
Good question
doing that.
coming
But my
up.
question is, what everybody wants to know: are there any updates on tow truck driver? Does law enforcement have the info from the cloud, or is there any updates with that, Nick?
Oh yeah, they have that all taken care of, and they're on it. They have all the information that they need. This stuff doesn't take long. Everything that they need was obtained within hours. So, and they're just doing a really thorough investigation.
Great. Also, are we going to expect more videos from you guys during this time when there's no active investigation?
On this case, no. If there are certain developments in this case, yes, we definitely do have another episode that will come out. But that's we can't do that, or it's going to heavily compromise their investigation. So, we're at the end of the day, we work with law enforcement.
The next video they have that they're holding on the Kylie Rodney case will heavily compromise the case. This video. So what's in this video? Where is it? Where the fuck is it? Where's this video that could heavily compromise the case? You listening? Heavily compromise. His words. So is this a good guy, an honest guy, or what? What is he?
Across the nation, so we're going to help them as much as possible, as well as continue with our purpose.
Wow, thank you. And do we expect a Jalissa episode from what you guys did there?
Yes, so we are rushing Jalissa's episode because, like I said, it's just overwhelming to us what we were.
Is it something having to do with her? Why you guys found it suspicious more than normal?
If somebody will release her and or produce some type of information that will lead to her whereabouts.
Thank you so much for answering that. And then I just have one last question. This was for our friend Teresa. She was asking, why do they feel that it was suspicious when they found her? Can you explain on that? Was it something having to do with her? Why you guys found it suspicious more than normal?
Are you talking about Kylie?
Yes, I'm sorry about Kylie.
It's not just one thing, it's everything, every step of the way, everything. I mean, starting before we even got there. I mean, just everything up.
It's everything before we even got there that told us it was suspicious. Everything before we even got there, okay? Before we even got there. We're supposed to follow the evidence, right? You didn't have evidence until you got there. That's when you got the evidence, when you found her. That was the evidence. Rumours, gossip, they're not evidence.
If it looks like it, talks like it, walks like it, smells like it, tastes like it, I mean, things just eventually overwhelmingly add up. And then when we're in there in that moment, and there's just an energy, vibe that just can't be explained. There's
an energy or vibe that can't be explained. An energy or vibe. Now, I'm all about intuition and discernment and understanding pathological intuition that narcissists, sociopaths, cluster B personalities tend to have. So I'm all for this